The issue of terrorism financing has been a major factor fueling the problem of insecurity in Nigeria over the years. In the year 2023, Financial Action Task Force (FATF), which is the world standards setting intergovernmental organization, included Nigeria on its grey list due to the country's deficiencies in fighting terrorism financing. Recently, a United States Congressman, Scott Perry, alleged that United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has been funding terrorist organizations in Nigeria, including Boko Haram, a revelation that has generated quite a number of reactions by netizens. And this, among other issues bordering on insecurity in Nigeria, are the talking points on today's edition of the program, Trending, from the Stables of Pensioners 106.7 FM. On behalf of the producer of Trending, Babatunde Tiamiyu, the DC on duty, Oluwaseun Awoyemi MC Prince, and the entire members of production crew, I am Israel Dejumobi, and I welcome you to Trending live on Pensioners 106.7 FM. On to Trending on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Like I rightly established at the inception of the show, this morning we'll be talking about issues bordering on terrorism financing in Nigeria in the light of that revelation made by Scott Perry, a United States Congressman, alleging that the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has been funding the activities of terrorists in Nigeria, including the activities of the Boko Haram terrorist organization. And of course, this has generated quite a number of reactions from various quarters, with many prominent individuals weighing on the matter and calling for a serious probe of this allegation. But of course, I won't be doing the analysis of this topic. I have my guest right here with me in the studio who is ready to do justice to the topic this morning. I've been joined in this conversation by a media consultant as well as a public affairs analyst in the person of Mr. Adesumo Badijoko. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Istra. Good morning, our listeners.
Yeah, it's good to have you around on the show this morning.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, so before we talk about that allegation and some other issues bordering on terrorism financing in Nigeria, yesterday we saw an ugly incident, a terrible one in Osun State. The sacked chairman of Ilewole local government, Remi Abbas, was shot dead by unknown gunmen at the local government secretariat in Ikire. Shortly before that incident happened, the Osun State governor, Ademola Adeleke, had raised alarm that the former governor of the state, Adigboyega Oyetola, who is the current minister of Bahrain and Blue Economy, was planning to unleash mayhem in the state. And yesterday we saw palpable tension across Osun State as alleged mass gunmen invaded local government council secretariats across the state. And in the course of that, the sacked chairman of Ilewole local government, Osun State, Remi Abbas, was shot dead in the course of that particular incident which took place yesterday. Of course, Honorable Abbas was among the local government chairmen elected on the platform of the APC and sacked by the Federal High Court sitting in Osogbo in the month of November year 2022. They were reinstated recently, by the virtue of a court verdict, and that has been the controversy in Osun State as regards the local government administration. Your take on this?
It was the governor that sacked them. They went to court and lost at the Federal High Court, and the Court of Appeal now gave judgment in their favor. It wasn't that the Court of Appeal was the first to sack them. It's an unfortunate incident, and I happen to come from Ilewole local government. And it's something that I hate violence in politics. I hate desperate politicians. I hate the way and manner the people who call themselves leaders behave. They throw caution into the wind. They bury decorum. They behave like thugs. And most of them are educated. They are not young people. And you find unwanted behaviors coming from them. And of course, the aftermath of such things is the unfortunate development that we witnessed yesterday. I commiserate with the Abbas family. May he so rest in peace. But the takeaway is that we need to put an end to this. And I think our governors should stop this idea of, upon assumption of office, sacking local government chairmen. If they are caretaker, fine. But if election had been conducted that you are aware of, because if you are contesting for an office, you must be aware of what's going on politically in the state. It happened here in Oyo State too. The governor had to pay. I don't know if he has finished paying the money that the court asked him to pay, which wouldn't have been necessary if he hadn't done that on day one of assumption of office. That's a waste of state money, because he will pay those ones for work not done, and he will also have paid the salaries of those that replaced them in office. So these are things that happened, and it's not peculiar to the Southwest, but actually all the state of the Federation do the same thing. And when they conduct local government election, their party alone will be the one to win, irrespective of whether APC or PDP. Local government elections have always been won by the ruling party. They clear everything. And Osun is preparing for another local government election. Another issue that come out of it is this political interference in the judicial processes. What delayed that Court of Appeal judgment till almost the eve of the local government election. So these are some of the things that caused problem. And the minister too is not a local government chairman, he's a minister of the Federal Republic. Why would you now, your presence in the state at that time would already bring up issues. Even if you are contesting for governorship alone, you wait till the time for governorship campaigns to begin. It means you are not serious with the ministry you are supervising. So these are some of the things that are wrong, which have led to the unfortunate development. And of course, we really need to be calling them out now Well, that is one thing I enjoy doing anyway. It's just that they will not listen. But the thing is, we will not relent, in as much as they are also not tired of doing the nonsense they are doing. So that's the thing. Our politicians need to lead by example. We need to find a way of, de-emphasizing violence. We copy this democracy from some area countries. The presidential system we practice was copied from the United States. They don't even declare holidays during their elections. Let alone now militarize the whole place, declare curfew, no movement because we want to vote, terrorizing the whole place. No, these are things that we do. And of course, you don't see them going to court to challenge election results. Once it is out, that's the end of it. So, and their governors will not have immunity, because the immunity of the governor is what is making them to behave like emperors. And that is why they are so unruly. They don't behave as leaders that they represent, and it's rather unfortunate.
All right, so we'll leave that for now, and let's talk about the major topic that brought us here this morning, which centers around that allegation made by United States Congressman Scott Perry. But shortly before I do that, it's also pertinent to inform you, dear listener, that Ijaw and Niger Delta leader Pa Edwin Clark has actually died at the age of 97, of course, and reactions have been pouring in as regards the death of the Ijaw and Niger Delta leader, Pa Edwin Clark, who actually died at the age of 97. Well, may he so rest in perfect peace. Now, let's talk about this quickly. Terrorism financing in Nigeria. Like I said in my introduction, that it has been a major topic. It has been on the front burner for some years now. I could recall that in the year 2022, was in 2022 now, yes, there was a list of terrorism financiers released to the Nigerian government. That was under the Buhari's administration, and people were expecting the Nigerian government as at the time to come out with the names, let us know who those people are exactly. But of course, we didn't get to see a logical conclusion of that particular case. But what would you say as regards the effort of government, the Nigerian government, both the present one and the past government, when it comes to fighting against terrorism financing?
First of all, reacting to the news I just broke, my condolence goes to the Edwin Clark family. Papa is one of the, when Pa Hayaduranja died, I remember referencing that it's one of the few ones that we now have left, not knowing that just 2 days after it too will join him. May his soul rest in perfect peace, and may the family be given the fortitude to bear the loss. And it's a big, and the John nation at large, God give them the fortitude to bear the loss. He will be missed. In fact, the job people will miss him. He's one of the people that are very blunt, and one of the few individual elders that hold the governments to ransom whenever they are going haywire. Their wisdom and guidance will be missed, no doubt. Back to terrorism financing. It's not a new development. It has always been there. The revelation is only confirming what some of us have been saying in the past, and because we are not connected to international organization or not running an NGO that is widely recognized, they will think that what we say is not or does not hold water. But the truth is, as a student of international relations, as an historian, as a graduate of political science, I know all these things, how they play out. And the reason why Buhari government never published the names was because on the list are people whom they feel would steer the waters. They will shake the ground, because most of them would be opposition figures, and he may be afraid of being tagged as being witch hunting. That's the dimension that it will twist to, because we politicize everything here, and we even politicize criminality, and that is why crime has been going up and up and not subsiding over the time. We have even politicized terrorism, and that is why it has been part and parcel of our system since it started in 2008. So, and no doubt, let's begin to look at some factors. Small arms and light weapons. We don't have a military industry here. We don't produce weapons. These guys carry weapons, more sophisticated than the ones that our security agents carry. How did they get those weapons? Guns are not sold in Bodija markets. They are not sold in Cotonou markets. They are not sold in the open market. It's only in the US that they have gun industry where you can go across the counter and buy from a licensed vendor. But we don't have that in this part of the world. But some people are into gun running business. And when ammunitions are to be sold, legitimately it will be government to government transaction for military hardware and equipment. Illegally, it will be to some military contractors who have that international connection. And now, most of these international organizations are linked to these things. They use their account to really push this money. And that is how they supply these insurgents. If the insurgents are not getting supply, where do you think they will get the boldness to be challenging the military from? These are ordinary people who are not trained, but some people are supplying them not just the logistics, but also the equipment that is required, and also the intelligence rather, that they would need to fuel the operations. In 2018, a colleague of mine has a friend that just got employment in one of these international organizations, and he was posted to Maiduguri. And while he was there, he said more NGOs were coming into Maiduguri and they were paying rents 5 years upfront for properties where they plan to use as offices. What does that tell you? That they will expect that insurgents to last for another 5 years at least. 2018 till date is already 7 years. And we are still talking about Boko Haram. And as of that 2018, the noise the government was making was that Boko Haram has been technically defeated. It has been decimated. They have done, that was what Lai Mohammed was telling the whole media. You understand? But while he was saying that, more agencies were coming into Maiduguri, which was a real epicenter then, and they were renting because they know what they were doing. They expect the insurgents to last for another 5 years, and now it has lasted 7 years. What does that tell you? They have a role they play in the perpetuating of this involvement. How come they are the ones counting this cost? When the number of casualties will be released, it will not come from the military, neither will it come from the local media. It will come from these international organizations. And you begin to wonder, how do they count? Because they are on ground, they know, they sponsor it. So that's the thing. So whatever USAID, the congressman is saying as regards USAID, cannot be de-emphasized. It's nothing but the truth. And he is a congressman in the US. He is in a position of knowledge, and that is why he knows what he's saying, and it's a revelation. And of course the president too, deciding to freeze the funding, is doing Africa, especially Nigeria, a big favor. Because that would, in a way, at least reduce the funding of Boko Haram and banditry by a fraction. And of course may incapacitate some of the sponsors. But we need him to go further, to put pressure on other donors like that, to also stop this funding.
Now, of course, some people have a counter-argument, as regards the veracity of that claim by the congressman. But before, I ask question on that, let's take a look at some of the efforts made by the Nigerian government so far in curbing terrorism financing. Under the current administration of President Bola Tinubu, I could recall that the president said that over 100 terrorist financiers had been convicted in the last 2 years, from the year 2023 to the current year 2025. Also, under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, it was said that about 96 terrorist financiers were uncovered, and of course 424 of their associates. And of course, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, also said that Nigeria has actually gained more ground when it comes to fighting terrorism financing in Nigeria. Would you say that, especially under this administration, that indeed Nigeria has secured more grounds when it comes to fighting terrorism financing?
The only thing they can claim to achieve is the discovery. They left exposure out. They did not prosecute. They did not convict.
Now the president said 100 terrorist financiers have been convicted.
Who are they? You understand? You're a part of the media. You will be in the know if there were conviction of 100 terrorist financiers. Names will be all over the place. Did they convict them did they try them in secret? That is just propaganda to give some credit to the administration. You understand? I'm aware they've made some discovery through the office of the NSA and its background with EFCC and of course financial crime investigation. That was what led to the issue of the Binance saga. But the thing is, it should not end there. It shouldn't. All the local conspirators, no matter how big and mighty they may be, you have to bring them to book. That is when people like me, Sumbo Badejoko, will take the government serious as regards that. That's when I will have hope that, yes, okay, we are on the way out of this nonsense that we have found ourselves. Because whether or not he said it's out there in the public, and it's a fact that if insurgency lasts more than 24 hours, the government has a hand in it. That statement was credited to the late Abacha, but there's no what is it called, certainty as regards whether or not he actually says so. But that is the truth, because I have some military guys as friends, and I know the extent of investment that government has made in just one soldier. Now imagine the whole institution, and the same institution that went to Liberia, liberated them from similar problem, went to Sierra Leone, did something similar, played a major role in Sudan during the Darfur crisis, could not solve Boko Haram and is it like Purawa, what do they call the bandits now? You understand? That tells you that there's huge conspiracy around it, and of course some people have built the economy. So the military actually, I wouldn't say the entire, but the majority are culpable when it comes to the perpetuation of this insurgency in this country. They cannot claim that they are. Look, military has different type of mandates. The one they are currently using is containment. Don't attack them except you are under threat. That will not solve the problem. And those who have been there and back will tell you where they used to look at each other, and they will be pointing to them and all of that. But they have not been allowed to attack them. So when you have that kind of mandate given to the officers, and you will be telling us they ambush them, they did that, they attack, they will, because you are giving them the encouragement to do so. Change the mandate to offensive tomorrow. Meaning that anywhere you sight anybody carrying rifle, you do what? You neutralize immediately. Before we know what is happening, within a month, those that have not been killed would have fled the country. And we would have forgotten about this thing. But that will now mean that defense will no longer be number one on our budget. And free money will not come to the pocket of this military echelon. That is why what they are trying to prevent by keeping it. But the truth of the matter is, if they check the clock and they look back to see the embarrassment that perpetuation is causing the institution they represent, they should be ashamed of putting on those uniforms. But that's, the day they realize that, the day they became conscious of that, they will do something about it.
Now, let's get back to that statement made by the United States Congressman Scott Perry, alleging that the United States Agency for International Development has been funding terrorist organizations in Nigeria, including Boko Haram. And the Chief of Defense Staff also, in a way, confirmed that statement, saying that many insurgent funding military operations had been caught with foreign currencies. That how did they get those currencies, if not for a level of foreign aid? But then, on the flip side, some people would say that what we are seeing right now is just a political gimmicks about the United States government. Let's not forget that Donald Trump recently has been making substantial efforts in revamping, so to say, the United States economy. And one of such is that he has actually suspended the operations of USAID in the nation owing to allegations of corruption. And some people will say that this is more of something that is of political interest to the United States and not in our interest in Nigeria. Do you see it that way?
If it's of political interest in the United States, the fact that that stoppage will help our own fight against terrorism is also of interest to us, because we are going to benefit from it. Some people are looking at it from the angle of those who are working with USAID and those who are also stealing the money that comes from there. If they are not doing anything credible with the money, then let the money stop. And let government look for alternative funding. That's what Okonjo-Iweala just told them. Look inward for alternative source of fund.
But you said it has been of help, actually, in some ways.
Of course, it will be some help too. But the thing is, to generality of the people, what have you as a person benefited from USAID? Let's begin from this room. Both of us have not benefited. Now let's look at the station as a whole. How many people in this station have benefited? Now begin to use that as a population sample. You will tell you what we will find out at the end of the day was as less than 10% of Nigerians, if you have up to that, would have benefited one way or the other from the USAID. So if what only less than 10% is benefiting from now stops, will it affect the nation? So that's the thing. And if you see anybody that is too focal, you know that it's either the person is on the payroll of one of the beneficiary or he himself is a direct beneficiary. So that's just the thing. Truth is, personally, if they ever understood what insurgency is costing this nation, it's not just what the money that the government is putting on media on defense every year. No, that's not the only cost. It's costing us manpower. It's causing shortage of food supply. It's part of what is causing inflation that we are dealing with. And they are not looking at all this angle only because money will not come in. We have what it takes to take care of ourselves. What we have been lacking is quality leadership that can galvanize these potentials and make something meaningful out of it. That is what we are lacking as a nation. Is it intellectual capacity that you want to say? Is it the manpower? We have the population. We even have the market, because population translates to two things economically. Translate to market, to consume whatever you are producing. Translate to manpower to even make the production happen. And we have all these resources here. So many untapped minerals that are being mined illegally, which is also a product of this sponsorship, because all the legal miners are internationally funded and protected by locals that are harmed by these people. And what they are mining illegally is supposed to be mined legally, and money goes to government, but it's going to private pocket. And when they make this money, they sponsor terrorism more to dislodge more population from their settlements, because they want to tap the mineral that is under the soil there. And that's why you keep seeing attacks upon villages. Those villages, they've been discovered that they have minerals underneath, and they can't go there. Why those people are still there? It's their farmland. They only farm on the surface, but the mineral is under. And that's why you keep hearing, well, in the name of unknown gunmen. They are known gunmen because they are sent on assignment. So these are things that is costing us as a nation. So a lot of people will say things from the perspective of ignorance. I don't react to such. I only encourage them to study more. Or if it's someone I'm close to, I point to one or two things he can go and study and learn, so that his own opinion too will change from what he currently is holding. So that's the thing. We need to really understand the damages that this insurgency is costing us. And it is because of those who are promoting the activity through this sponsorship.
So you don't see this as a deliberate ploy by the Donald Trump's government to
Donald Trump does not care about
withdraw
Nigeria.
funds?
He doesn't care. He's not targeting Nigeria in any way. His policy is America first. Anything that would keep American funds in American soil to benefit Americans, that is what Trump is after. So he wants to save the fund to spend locally, not just to be throwing away.
So it's not a political agenda to stop the operations of USAID.
It's not the political agenda to stop the operation. USAID is an establishment of the American institution. So if he feels as the commander-in-chief today that he no longer believes in that, of course, he can have a change. He has other foreign policy objectives to pursue. He has other trade objectives to pursue. And he is pursuing them. And he will only be there for 4 years. Maybe after 4 years, if another person comes up and maybe wants to go back, fine. But I'm sure events would have overtaken all those things by that time, in 4 years' time. So no, that's the thing. It's American president, it is American fund. When they throw out this, not all countries of the world that are even getting the USAID. Some are entitled to it, but they refused it because they do not believe in it. Once this organization come into your country, most of them are spy. They carry out espionage operations secretly that you will not know, and they'll be supplying intel about your country to their host nation. And espionage in most countries is punishable by death once captured. That's why I say when Nigerian government was saying these are things that white people will not take for granted. They will kill you if you are caught exposing their secrets or spying on them. They will. They will not care whatever diplomatic rights will lead to. They are going to execute you. At least I know of 3 countries that don't joke with this: United States, Russia, and France. To them, once you are caught, if they want to be nice, they will give you fair trial. But if they know that you are high profile, that is when they will just keep you somewhere to negotiate for their own that has been captured in the other hand too. And they begin to talk about prisoner swap or prisoner exchange. But when they know there's nothing at stake, they will execute the person and nothing will happen. So that's the thing. So it is that we treat with kid glove here. That's why all manner of things are coming into the country and making our own country ungovernable.
Now let's look at this statement coming from the former aviation minister, Femi Fani-Kayode. He described the Binance executive, Tigran Gambaryan, as a conduit used by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, to fund Boko Haram. Mr. Fani-Kayode described Mr. Gambaryan as a terrorism enabler and an economic saboteur. How would you respond to this allegation?
That is someone who will be in a position of knowledge too. He's an highly connected individual, a former government official, a politician that have access to so many information that I do not have. So if he's saying that, I believe him 100%.
Now, some people will say it's in a bid to respond to that allegation made by Mr. Gambaryan himself, that the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, demanded funds for his political ambition. He also accused some lawmakers of demanding $150 million bribe.
The last time I checked, Gani Fani-Kayode was never a lawmaker. Neither has he worked with the National Security Advisor before. He was a minister.
He was a Nigerian.
You understand? He was a minister. And of course, for him to have responded, like one thing about him, he responds to insult swiftly. That is Fani-Kayode for you. So if he has responded in that manner, of course. Then Omokri have also said the same thing. Will you say he's also working for the NSC?
Seeking for political...
Look, that Pakistani-American guy is a known terrorist sponsor. When he was granted bail, the U.S. government sent a private jet to come and pick him up. That's how important he is to them. So if the same person is now talking, you shouldn't take him seriously. What we expect is that his local collaborators should be exposed. And once those ones are exposed, the government should not cover them up. If you cannot try them, let us know their identity. We will deal with them ourselves.
How do we do that?
you know how Nigerians can do mob action when they know that this is your number one enemy. So that is what they will do. That's what, but when you are protecting them, they will still think, because it will be surprising to some people that the same person they see as their political godfather is the man. What do you think will happen? If the mob is been leading now find out that is their enemy, they will unleash terror on him. That's the thing. So that's why the government will not be doing us any favor if they keep covering up these people. That is just the thing. They should expose them. Let us know who they are. The former Minister of Information bragged till he left office. He did not tell us anything. They just say we know who they are, we have their this thing. And they will, even this current Minister of Mines and Steel is saying, powerful individual, who are they? If you are saying they are powerful, that means you know their identity. Tell us who they are. They may be powerful to you, but they are not above Nigerians. We are 220 million by approximates. One individual idiot cannot just terrorize all of us. They will outrun them. So that's the thing. They should not protect these people. And of course, when they are exposed, it's just that most of the people are the people that we call VIP. Like somebody once told me, he said, an average rich man is a lawbreaker. They will not want to do things by the law. They want to terrorize, oppress, and do all manner of things. And those are the people that unfortunately gets into government position in Nigeria. And that's why things are not working. And things can never work until the pedestal is balanced for everybody to thrive.
Now, let's talk about the role of financial institutions in this, because, all this money is, channeled through financial institutions, definitely. And so some people will say that, don't you think we should beam our searchlights on financial institutions, banks, as well, in order for us to deal with this issue of terrorism financing?
That has also been said for a very long time. Remember during the cashless policy, the new notes that was cast in the city, bandits were brandishing it in the forest.
Yeah.
How did they get there? They are not the one that printed the money, and there are no banks in the forest. Some people took it there. When they collect their ransom, some people bank it for them. So it's a known thing, a known fact. That's why I said government is not serious. You don't just do discovery. You expose, you prosecute, and you convict. That is when you have really done justice. But when you just you are only playing media trial or playing to the gallery, that will not solve the problem, because what you will do eventually is that you will embolden others with similar tendencies to go ahead and do their own too.
So we should be by such light on the financial institutions as well.
Everywhere possible. Even some media organization that promotes their activities. For understand, before you get to know here, the information, how do you have correspondence there? Some people are sending the information to sell the news, so as to portray the government in negative light and promote the strength of the insurgency. In some countries where you will never hear anything about insurgents, because the moment you are hearing too much about it, it will be limiting the capacity of the government to deal with them. And that's why whenever this government is getting upper hand, they will fly the issue of collateral damage, attack on innocent population. Do you understand what you are saying? Like, what are we hearing in the news? 6 family members died to military attack. What were those family members doing in that attack zone? Was it an error of calling us? No, they trace terrorists to the place. That means they are collaborators. And in the rules of engagement, any civilian found within the hostile territory is also regarded as hostile, because they would have given them opportunity to flee the scene and not allow themselves to be used as human shield, because that's what these terrorists also use some civilian population as. All of them work for them, they are on their payroll, and they will be the one to gather intel. We saw the military going that direction, so don't go there. Or you can quickly, this is where they are not helping us as a nation. You understand? So any times when I have opportunity to talk about issues like this, some people will look at me as if I don't have conscience. I hate anything that is bad, because there's no other way you can put it. Bad is bad. You can't say not too good. That is useless euphemism. Say it as it is. Call a spade a spade. Enemies of nations does not only include the terrorists, but also their collaborators and their sponsors. So you cannot just be dealing with those ones without dealing with the other two groups as well.
Now, of course, like I said some minutes ago, that the current administration in the United States under Donald Trump has been withdrawing funds here and there, and of course that includes Nigeria as well. And some people have been saying that it is high time we looked inward as a nation. But then, how really do we look inward as a nation? You know, that's the question to ask, because of course it has been all over the place. We should look inward, we should look inward. This is a message to African leaders and to Nigerian government that we should look inward. But in looking inward, how would you advise the Nigerian government to go about this?
That's why it goes to the president. Is you want to look inward, and the first thing you need to do is to stop traveling about.
He has been traveling around to secure foreign investment.
That is distraction. You don't need foreign investment. We have rich people in Nigeria, richer than those that you are chasing after. Dangote is in Nigeria the last time I checked, and he's the richest man in Africa. We have BOA, we have other industrialists, we have some politicians who have stolen money not knowing what to do with it. All you need to do is get those people's identity, flag their dossier before them, and tell them, come, fine, we will not expose you, but we need this money to be invested in this area. You will still have your share. It's like the money working. Understanding between them and the government. That understanding will lead to jobs, you understand, and development. And nobody will know.
People say that you are aiding corruption.
That is not aiding corruption, because you are solving the problem. You are solving both problems. Because if you don't do that, the money goes outside through repatriation or money laundering, and those ones will use it for similar purpose and put pressure on our local currency. But here you domesticate the investment, and you have signed enter an understanding with that people with a threat. If you do this again, then, and some other people will just target where the money is, and they will secretly execute them and take the money. Which one is better? Let them live and force them to invest, or execute them and take the money. So there are so many things governments can do to utilize. There are lots of trap forms in the banking votes that are unused, and the bankers are just using them to enjoy life. These are money that we are looking for all over the world that is not lost. You understand? That is one way. We have our ivory towers here. We have intellectual, the intelligentsia that you can consult to give you ideas on what to do. They are there, they are not being consulted. They've been talking, but nobody was listening to them. But if they are the ones in charge of the thing, they would know how to go about it, because they understand their terrain very well. So these are things that the government can do. All countries, even the America that we are talking about, America for more than 50 years was in a state of isolationism. During this period, they were developing capacity local. And when they will launch out during the First World War, they came out big, and they became a force to reckon with. And they've become a force to reckon with ever since then. Ditto to China. Even up to the 1976, China was still struggling. But they were minding their business, developing capacity. And look at China today. It has become a big thorn in the flesh of the Western world. We need an African version of that. Mm-hmm. And Nigeria is the only country that has that potential.
Capacity.
No, potential. We have not developed capacity.
Just the potential.
That's the potential. That's all we have. We cannot develop that potential to that capacity. That is required. Mm-hmm. But the West is aware. That's why they are also indirectly holding down our hands by sponsoring all these things that can slow us down.
All right, let's open the studio lines for our dear listeners to be part of the conversation this morning 0908 111 1067, 0908 111 1067, 0706 639 1367, 0706 639 1367. Those are the numbers to call to be part of the conversation this morning. You can also drop your comments on our Facebook page, Pensioners Space FM. Yes, once you type Pensioners Space FM in your Facebook app, you have the chance to give your comments and also watch us live. 0908 111 1067, 0706 639 1367. Hello, good morning. Yeah, good morning. Or call us back if you have a chance to do so. And don't forget, I can also drop your comments on our Facebook page, Pensioners Space FM. Now, let's talk about this because, you've been talking about the government ensuring that we bring perpetrators to book, those who are responsible. Let us name them. Let us, perhaps name and shame, so to say. But then some people will say that the laws of the land, as they stand at the moment, cannot really achieve that. It will appear as though some people are actually bigger by the laws of the land, and there's a need for complete rejigging of the nation's laws.
There's nothing wrong with our law. What we do not have is strong institutions. Now, what will lead to strong institutions is allowing them to operate freely. By that time, they will begin to do their job without interference. Politics is our problem in this country. We politicize everything. That criminal is a potential political ally. So you would rather negotiate with him and allow him go away because you have something to benefit from him politically in the future. That is the problem that we have. And in the process, we have built strong men and not strong institutions. And that's the problem. We don't need strong men. We need stronger institutions that would see everybody equal, that will create an egalitarian society where nobody will be. We will change our national anthem and we say to build a nation where no one is oppressed. But some people are oppressing the others. So we need to build a society where there will be no oppression. And the only thing that can guarantee that is strong institutions. And that will start by enforcing the laws.
So there's nothing wrong with our laws as such?
There's nothing. We have missed laws. We have laws in place that are not being followed.
All right, now let me have your reaction to this story. The Bring Back Our Girls movement, BBOG, has urged the federal government to make public the findings of the Brigadier General Mohammed Sabo-led Fight-Finding Committee on the 2014 Chibok schoolgirls abduction. And the Sabo Committee was established on May 6, 2014 by the then President, Goodluck Jonathan, in response to the global outrage over the abduction of 276 schoolgirls from Government Secondary School, Chibok, Borno State, by Boko Haram terrorists on April 14, 2014. Mr. Adesomo Badejoko, it's been more than 10 years now, it's more than a decade now, and we are still having this call at this point in time. I mean, what does that depict?
Lack of seriousness on the part of the government. I told you, they are playing politics to this thing. After Chibok, we've had Dapchi. And the Dapchi episode looks more or less like a charade. But the politics aspect of it was the retention of Leah Sharibu in captivity. And the fact that we are hearing news about the plight of the girl and the government have refused to rescue her. You understand? And that is one innocent girl that has not done any wrong to the Nigerian nation, but the Nigerian nation has destroyed her future, caring less about the plight of her parents. And she's just there, breeding for the insurgents. You understand? The Boko Haram, the Chibok girls were taken as girls. When they were seen, it was women that were rescued. They have grown in captivity to the extent that a good number of them already have this psychosis syndrome that they could not fit in back into the society. And when the government would rather help them reintegrate, they were just showcasing them, giving them a shoebi, to show that they have rescued them, and you see them too carrying their babies, the babies that were given birth to by people whose parents did not approve of, against their wish. You understand? And nobody is talking about that. Nobody, not even those asking for reports. What benefit would the reports do to the life of those girls? So these are things that are wrong that I'm saying. Imagine if any of them were to be the children of those big people. How would they feel? That is how conscience does not exist within them. Because I can't imagine my daughter being taken and some government will be telling me stories. No, they can't. You understand? Especially in circumstances that was needless. Those girls wanted to write WAEC. That was why they were in school. And some people came and took them away. Why allow them write WAEC there when you know that this insurgency is getting out of hand? And when they were even taken, the government was still politicizing the whole thing. They did not move on time. That was why they disappeared into whichever forest in Cameroon that they took them to. And they claimed that they could not be found. These are so big that it cannot be penetrated. So these are things that you see and you say, you renders you speechless sometimes. And it shows how unserious our government has been and how shameless the military too has become over the years.
All right, finally on the show this morning, what would be your advice to the Nigerian government as regards curbing the issue of insecurity, reducing it drastically in the nation? Although some people would say that under this current administration, we've been seeing a level of improvement. Well, some people would say, well, it's just that these cases have been underreported. But whichever way, what would be your advice to the Nigerian government as regards dealing with the issue of insecurity?
The first thing they need to do is to punish the offenders. The idea of amnesty should not come to mind, let alone being implemented. No terrorist can repent. They will not. They will only pretend just to be left off the hook, and they go back to their crime or be committing it secretly. If they are found to have killed before, kill them too. If they are found to have maimed before, do something similar, put them in prison. While they are in prison, let them repent there. Do the rehabilitation there, but not in the open space. Where, if you are saying somebody that have killed an entire family has repented, and you have not done anything to really appease the family, and they are now existing in the same society, their family members are seeing the person that... Do they imagine the psychological effects it will have on
God wants the repentance of a sinner, And
that is God, not the people. God will deal with that one. We are talking about justice here. You understand? That is how we spiritualize and bring religion into everything that doesn't concern religion. We are talking about crime. It has nothing to do with religion. It has more to do with the law
of the land.
Of the land, which must be obeyed. That is the first thing government needs to do. The other thing is to fight poverty by engaging the youth, especially in those areas where these things are common, productively. It is because they are idle, that's why they are being recruited by these agents of darkness. Those illegal miners should be sent out. We should know mining site as mining sites, then farmland as farmlands. Not mix them up, or not do anything about solid minerals and allow some people to now take that up as if they are the government. These are things, then states should control their resources. And if that will happen, something must be added to it. No immunity for governors. That will make them terrible people. Worse than they are now. Take away their immunity, allow them to control their resources, and enter into agreements. Is it 40% for the federal? Is it 30% for the federal? 30% across board on each resources to the federal is already enough for the federal government to run. Then the state will have the 70% to do things. Then shared responsibility. Policing should not be a federal affair. It is because we have one inspector general in Abuja that every other police in every corner answer to. That is why crime cannot be curbed. But if you have the police chief in the state being in charge, he knows the state terrain more. That will solve problems, and those are the ways to go. And of course, by the time you allow state to control resources, the issue of infrastructural deficits would begin to reduce, because states will have more money to put up the infrastructure they feel their state is in need of. So that's how to, and they will attract development to the state, and this issue of urban-rural migration would also reduce. Everybody will stay put in their state and develop their state, working together. That's the way to go, if we really, and that is true federalism, not the nonsense that we are practicing.
All right, I'll take that as your final reaction on the show this morning. I must appreciate you, Mr. Desumbo Badejokwe, media consultant and public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, to you, dear listener, thanks for being a part of the program, Trending, from the Stables of Pensioners, Water 6.7 FM. On behalf of the producer of Trending, Babatunde Tiamiyu, the DC on duty, Oluwasho Awoyemi, MC Prince, and the entire members of the production crew, I am Israel Dejumobi, and I'm saying keep being a good citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless Nigeria.
Pensioners FM, this is Africa's model. Àgbàlódé lèmi ń fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀.